Welcome to Insight Builder channel. Large language model automators, artificial intelligence experts, and my dear friends. Haiku creation and auto tweeting with LLM. How to create poetry from public tweets with LLMs. The goal: collect the public tweets in your own timeline, summarize them into a haiku, and then tweet it automatically. This is a fun project that I had been thinking of. So the steps to achieve this particular objective is to understand the Twitter API. That's the first step that you need to start working with. We have to get the Twitter the credentials. Have to connect with Twitter and extract the tweets. So this is something that also you need to understand. And all these steps I will be showing you how to do that. We have to create the haiku. So that is where the prompt as well as the LangChain and large language models comes into picture. So till here, this is more of a general understanding of how Twitter works, how the credentials are provided, and how to connect with Twitter. Okay, I am making all these things manually here. Right now, I am not using any of the artificial intelligence or language model in this 3 steps. However, in future, this also will get modified. So be ready for that. The reason why I am telling you right now is that the steps that is involved. So understanding API, getting the Twitter credentials and connecting to Twitter, all these things actually can be created as a separate steps that can be automated and given to the large language models. So it can always follow the steps and get the necessary information from the Twitter API and generate the appropriate API keys and keep it ready so that it can create the haiku and then feed the tweets into the LLM chain. So after we start the prompt for creating the haiku, then we can actually feed the haiku and the tweets into the LLM chain. The haiku will be given out. So from here you will get the haiku. That haiku has to be tweeted to your timeline. So for that also you will have an API. I will be showing it. We have to review the response that is available inside the programming environment and ensure the tweet is in the timeline. So you have to go and visit your tweet timeline to ensure that it is available. For a couple of tweets, you have to see it manually. Now, the idea here is that we are actually moving between multiple systems. So the programming aspect of all this API collection, creating the haiku and using the prompt, feeding the tweets into the LLM chain, tweeting the haiku to your tweet line, all these 3 steps actually occur inside the Python execution environment. It's not that you have to use Python only. There is a way to use JavaScript also in LangChain, and there are various other libraries also which I have not touched upon. So LangChain is one of those libraries. If you take a look at my playlist, I am also discussing about the various other Python libraries that is available that can interface with the large language model and automate things for you. Okay, so this is an overview that I wanted to provide regarding the steps to achieve. Now, the next I am going to do is to show you a couple of challenges that we will be facing and then going to the code, because coding is not much of an issue here, because if you know the logic, if you know how to work with LangChain, if you know how to work with the LLM, that is not much bigger issue. The issue here is how to set up the Twitter application, inside the Twitter developer portal, and then getting the API, the corresponding API keys, the access tokens, etc., and then using it to interface with the Twitter timeline. So that becomes a little bit of a challenge. So that I'll be trying to share as much information as I can based on the challenges that I have faced with you guys. So that will be the next step that I'll be doing. I hope that you like this content. Do leave a like, share it with others, because the technology is rapidly developing, and the more we share and discuss these things, we can speed up our own development. That is the primary intention of asking to share this with everybody, and subscribe to my channel for further updates on similar kind of the automate series that I am working upon. So as I had discussed in the past in my various, let me go to the browser for a moment. So this is the TweetPy library that I'll be using. So before that, I would like to also share the playlist that I'll be having. So this is the Future is Here playlist that I'll be updating all my videos. So I've already discussed about how to automate your YouTube comments using LangChain and LLM. So similarly, all the respective videos that comes next regarding the automation aspects of large language model will be updated in this particular playlist. So stay tuned on this particular playlist. With that said, let me go to the GitHub repo where the Twitter automation, LLM automation notebook will be shared with you guys. So the link for this particular notebook also will be available for you available inside the YouTube description below. So take a look at that and you can get this notebook. Now just a minute. The notebook environment that I'll be using to explain you the concepts will be Google Colab environment, but the same notebook you can execute in your own environment also. All it will require is these series of libraries. Actually, you don't need Hugging Face Hub to install Hugging Face Hub. However, I was experimenting with working with open source models with in case of to remove OpenAI models and place open source models from Hugging Face Hub. I was experimenting with it, so that's why I've kept this particular library also. So if you're new to LangChain, if you're new to various other models that is available, I would suggest to take a look at this particular playlist where I discuss not just the LangChain related topics, but also the overall ecosystem around the large language models and various kinds of libraries that are open source. These are all open source libraries that work with open source artificial intelligence models, and all these are discussed in this particular playlist. Take a look at it. And moreover, this the idea of sharing all this information to you guys is that we can actually start working on new technologies, because the existing technologies are going to be revamped rapidly. So we need to get ready for the next step, right? So we need to understand what are the programs and what are the ideas that is already available out there. So that is the intention of this particular playlist. You can take a look at this. Now, getting back to the TweetPy. TweetPy is one of the libraries that is pretty stable when it comes to working with Twitter accounts. And this, especially right now, Twitter is providing version 2 API endpoints, and we need to work with, and version 2 API endpoints have lots of information that you can collect from. What I am right now doing is I am just getting the two things. I am working on creating the tweet, so I'll be using this step, and also I'll be getting the just a minute, get recent tweet, and I will be using the public getting the public tweets. So this is what the home timeline is, what I'll be using. I'm using a very basic method inside the Twitter API in order to get the Twitter handle, I mean OAuth handle working. So you need to work with consumer keys, consumer secret, access token, access secret. All these things I'll be explaining to you next, how to get access to and how to use them inside the execution environment. So that is more tedious challenge that we have, rather than working with the large language model. That's actually much easier. You will see that it's just 5-line codes, but yeah, understanding how to interface with Twitter service is a bit of a pickle. So now let us go to the notebook where I am discussing that. This particular notebook will contain these pictures also, so you don't need to worry about it. Just understand what is going on here. So once you have the Twitter developer account, you will need to justify what you are going to do with the developer account. So that's after that only you will be given access to a developer account. So have a good think about a good reason if you don't have a developer account right now, and then present your case to the Twitter the API access team, and then get the Twitter access. That's very important. It's not difficult, but yes, have a good reason for getting your endpoint up and running. After you get the Twitter developer account, you need to create a project. Once you create the project, inside the project you need to create a application. These steps I have not shown here, so I would suggest that you get it from do it by yourself. After you get the application inside your project, also there is a good documentation from Twitter side. I am whatever I am explaining is much lesser than what Twitter guys have explained. So the documentation guys are very passionate about what they are doing, and the way they have explained is very, very simple. But still, I just want to show you the picture so it will be easier for you guys to get up and running. So I have already created application. I have created the application. I'll be given an app ID, and you have to go to the user settings inside the app and edit it. And inside the user setting, you have to make the app permission as read and write. That is more important. And the type of app will be web app, automated app, or a bot. So this is the step you need to do. And inside the app info, this is something that I was little confused, that what callback URL I should give. So after doing some research, I found that okay, the callback URL should be your local host. So it's a loopback address that you need to provide. After giving these two, it accepts, so it doesn't throw any errors. Once the application is created and appropriate permissions have been provided, then you need to go into the application. So this is inside the application. So there is the project, there is the application, and then inside that you have the keys and tokens. So this is where you need to start working on getting your API key and secret, your bearer token, your access secret. All these things are required. So this will be your client ID. So this is something that you may not be using it. All these things you need to take, and then just a moment. So all the keys and detail, you take it and come to this particular repo. You will find the API key.data. So this is the file where you can store all your credentials, including your OpenAI API key. So you can store it all here, and you can use config parser and start using these details inside your programming environment. Okay, so this is what I'll be using. So I am showing it ahead of time so that when I'm going into the program, you shouldn't be confused that what is going on. So I am also sharing this particular file in the repo itself, so you can take it. And moreover, this particular file will contain going forward, I'll be working with various services. It's not just Twitter. So as I already shared, the YouTube service I was working on. Next, I'll be working on Slack. Let me go to the presentation for a moment. So as I was telling, the reason for you guys to subscribe is that I'll be working with multiple other services also. Next will be Slack, Zoom, and various other APIs where you can actually push and pull the information and start uploading your data automatically. So the point here is that you have to start interacting with the web services in a more streamlined fashion with large language models. In the large language model that I'll be showing here is very, very basic. I'll be using a LLM chain method using LangChain prompt templates, but that is very basic. So you can actually create agents and chains which are more complex and can go through lots of logic, and then provide you the necessary interaction with the web services or whatever service you are talking about, whatever service you are thinking about. So I'll be discussing all these aspects in the future videos. So do subscribe to the channel. Let us go to the browser again. I hope that you understood what is going on here. So let me now move to the next step. This is the config parser library that I was talking about. So import the config parser, and this is the API data file that I showed you right now. So this is the same file I'm importing with a different name. So don't worry about the name. That is just to ensure that the names are the data is not getting leaked. And I have also explained what is API key, what is access token, and how to work with it here briefly. And this is where I start using it. So in your case, all you have to do is, if you don't want to get into all this hassle, if you are practicing it, just remove this entire the working with the config parser and directly provide your access token and secret. There is no issue. So if you are working in your own environment with this particular program, no issues. You don't need to worry about keeping the things secret. However, if you are going to work, place it inside a public domain like how I am doing right now, then you have to be more careful. So that's why I am also showing one of the best practices for you guys to understand. So there are other ways to do it. You can use os.environment and give the keys inside the os.environment and leave it as it is. But still, that method was not very bulletproof in my case, because sometimes my keys get shared. The way I am using it in notebook, my keys was getting shared. So that's why I'm using this config parser. So I hope that you guys can Guys, I understand what is going on here. All this are just the assignments of keys. Now once you do that, there are multiple ways of authentication inside the Twitter environment. Okay, so each kind of authentication will lead you to a different kind of a Twitter object. This is the concept that you need to understand. In order to get the home timeline method, you need to have a object that is authenticated on all directions. So you need to have the consumer key and consumer secret, and authorize it using the OAuth handler, and then you need to authorize that OAuth handler using another one process. So it goes through multiple authorization steps, and then you will get the proper object. So this is multi-step process. So this is little involved. I had made a lot of mistakes in this area. So ensure that you give, so this particular access key and access secret are actually access token and access token secret. You see this here, right? So inside the Twitter, and let me go up. So if you go here, you will see that access token and secret. So whatever you are getting from this particular generation, this particular feature, that is what you need to update here in access key and access secret. And when it comes to consumer key and consumer secret, that is coming here. Got it? So all of these things you need to properly place it, and then only this particular step will get completed and you will get the home timeline. This took a little bit of a research and lots of trial and error because I was not reading the documentation properly. Yeah, so you have to read the documentation also. So as I was telling, Twitter guys had done a very good job in writing the documentation. Only thing is we need to have the patience. Now, once you have the patience and once you get the home timeline, then it is fun. Next, what I'm going to do is, it's very simple. So I'm going to get the public tweets that I have. So I have a couple of tweets here, and you can see their author ID. This is something that I've just created for you guys to see how is the data structure. Okay, and always I prefer that to look at the data structure because I am not really good at data structures. But yeah, once I look at the data structures, then programming it becomes really, really easy. After that, I can clearly see, okay, I just need this tweet.text, nothing else. So rest of the things are fine. I don't need it. But yeah, if you're going to do something else with respect to the author ID, with respect to the name, if you want to filter it, if you want to apply any kind of logic here, go ahead, and you can do all those stuff without any kind of a challenge, because your public tweets might have different set of users and different set of tweets that you're following, correct? And you might want to work with this set of data in a different way. You may not just want to take all the public tweets and do a haiku. So that's what I'm planning to do. But you can do something else also. So it's your program and it's your logic. Coming to the logic that I used, so I have taken the tweets and I have just taken the last 5 tweets. So this is something because I don't want to waste my access tokens, right, in OpenAI. Also, let me go step by step. So you can also search tweets based on the particular topic that is going on. So you can use api.search tweets, and it will give all the tweets related to the particular topic that you're searching. So it's going to be huge data. So ensure that you know what you're doing, because because there is a rate limit inside tweet. But yeah, rate limit is sufficient, so you don't need to worry about hitting the rate limit anytime when you are practicing. Okay, this is one way of getting the data from the Twitter. So we are getting the data, public tweets, and we are trying to get the tweets, searching the tweets, etc. So this is the process we need to follow. Okay, now we have got the data. Now we have to upload, we have to write the tweet to our account. So for that, there is a object called, there is a method in TweetPy called client. So you need to use that. I think it's a class. I made a mistake. So client is a class. Inside the client class, you have to send all this access tokens, consumer key, etc. And then you will be creating a client. And in this client, you can actually create the tweet. So this is all pretty intuitive. Once you start working with these libraries, then you will understand a lot. And the examples that is provided by TweetPy is also pretty straightforward, so you don't need to worry about it. Only thing is you need to understand what is these secrets and keys and access tokens and access secrets. That's the key of it. Now here I have just created a simple tweet and I have tried to tweet it, and this is where I'm placing the OpenAI API key. So as I was telling you, so either you can use this method where you can just place the keys here and use os.environment. So os.environment method, or actually you can use this method also that I am showing at the top, right? You can use any of these methods. So whichever way suits you, use it. This way I had been sharing my API keys out with everybody. I had to go and change it. If I miss it, then it could be a challenge. So if you're using it in public environment, be very careful about this. Okay, so we have seen how to get the tweets. We have seen how to post the tweets also manually. Now we are going to hand over the creation of the tweet to the large language model. For that, we are going to work with LangChain. So we are going to have a prompt template. It's going to be pretty simple, and we are going to use that prompt template inside LLM chain. So the prompt template is what you see here. Write a haiku from the following data, and I give the data, and I create a prompt template, and I create LLM chain, and there it goes. So all I need to do is run this LLM chain with the home tweet. So this is the home tweet that I created. You saw that, right? So I am taking all the public tweets and appending the tweets into the home tweet, and then I am asking you to create the data, and here you get the haiku out. So this is as simple as that. That is the process that I am following, but we have to automate it. So how are you going to automate it? So to automate, always use Python functions. So into the Python function called post tweet, I am going to send the LLM chain itself, the chain that I am creating here with all the necessary credentials and the LLM settings and the prompt template. I'll be sending that in. I will first of all get the new tweets. That is more important. Whenever I call the post tweet, new home line tweets will be received. The home underscore tweet list will be initialized, and I'll be appending the public tweets to the home tweet, like here you see here, and then I'll be joining. So here I'll be appending everything to home tweet, but you can actually change this. I am taking only the last 5 elements here. I am not taking all the elements. You can remove this and make it as a single complete data also, depending on your how you want to work with it, because it's a matter of working with tokens. So ensure that you are using it more carefully. And then I run the LLM chain. So, and once I run the LLM chain, I will get the haiku, and that haiku I am using the create tweet.text. So where is that? So this particular method, and I am going to send the haiku, and inside the haiku I am just making this particular hashtag made by AI, and I am getting the response. So now I am going to execute this. Let me just a minute open the Twitter account for you guys to see. So this is where I will be, getting the updates for you guys. So as I was, trying to understand, and just a minute, let us go back to the collab environment, and let us execute the tweet. So I am executing the tweet. I'm posting the tweet right now, and I'm going to check the status, because that is going to give me the response. And in the response itself, you see that Tiger Lily arrives. Alyssa sparkles in the night, money moves the world. So this is what the tweet is, and let us go to my timeline, and inside the profile, if I take a look, and my handle is K Curious in Twitter, and this is the handle on which I'll be also posting all my details. And you see that if I go a little down, the tweets that I have posted recently will come into the picture. So you see the tweet that this particular step did has been posted to the Twitter channel, and also you see the hashtag also coming along with it. So this is how simple it is to actually work with the Twitter environment and work with the large language model. So as you saw, the challenge is not about challenge is not about getting the large language model to work with the various text data that is available with you. That has been right now streamlined, but connecting with the Twitter API is a little bit of a challenge. So we have to understand it. Once you understand it, it's very simple. After that, you can automate it very fast. Also, you might be wondering, Kamal, is there a way that I can completely bypass this process and let the agents inside the agent or chains inside the lang chain? Just a minute. Yeah, here. Can I do something with the large language models? Actually, yes, you can do it. The things can be the agents can be written in such a way that it actually interfaces with the Twitter API, what is it called, endpoint, the access points, and then it can create your clients and do everything for you. So you actually don't need to write all these things. But the challenge there is, once you create right agents, so these agents are going to do a trial and error and try to work with the Twitter API, and it is going to try to work with you also, because it has to get the API keys, right? So it has to work with you, and it has to properly match this information and create this particular object. So this particular object, then only you can post it. So that is the first step. But there is still, to my knowledge, even if it is going to be ChatGPT or ChatGPT 4, even I suppose I don't have access to ChatGPT 4, but even with ChatGPT 4, there will be still a challenge when you are trying to work with complex situations where a lot of random details like consumer key, consumer secrets are involved. And moreover, the challenge there, there's a second challenge is that your consumer key secrets, everything will be getting shared with the OpenAI also, database also. Yeah, your data is safe. I'm not talking about that. The point is that your product or the application or your company might have strict rules and regulations which might curtail you from sharing all this information outside. So that could be also one of the challenges. And also the third and most important challenge is that you should learn something. The point is that what if Twitter changes their format, how they give the consumer key and access secret? So how will that work? How will you feed that information to the large language model? Actually, it's not that simple. So working with large language model, which is actually a closed environment. So once the language model is learned, making it to learn new things is not that easy. So there is an entire concept of fine tuning. There is a concept of creating a completely new language model. And it takes a lot of effort and lots of time. So it is better that certain things which we can do it by ourselves has to be done by ourselves. So that is something that I wanted to highlight here. I hope that you understood let us go to the PDF again. I hope you understood what is going on in this series of steps we took, starting from understanding the API, getting the credentials, working with the Twitter API classes and getting the public tweets, and then summarizing it as a haiku, reviewing the response, and ensuring the tweet is in the timeline. So all of these steps we actually saw step by step right now. The point I wanted to make here is that it doesn't come with single go. So that you need to practice. You need to also understand each of the methods that is available with the objects that I shared. I had done my own groundwork before I decided to go with public tweets inside the Twitter environment. Right. But initially when I was thinking, I wanted to work with the trends method. So I want to show the trends that is available in the tweet and try to create a new tweet based on the trend. If you are looking for something like that, you can work on that way. If you are going to work with your product, and if you want to automate something from the advertisement or marketing aspect of it, then your LLM chains has to be modified. Yeah. Keep one thing in your mind. Whenever you are going to interface with public services, you have to test the large language model outputs rigorously. Ensure that you do a proper evaluation of the large language models. I have a separate video that I will be linking along with this video also, that talks about evaluating your large language model constructs inside LangChain, so that you are confident. You cannot put anything that that might harm your brand, or bring some damage to your products that you are going to sell. So ensure that you understand what is at stake, and do take help of the experts. There are lots of experts out there, so do take their help. Only one thing that I want to reiterate is that you yourself needs to know what is going on. Even if you are a senior leader, even if you are even if you are a junior who is trying to understand the technology, the idea is very same. You have to understand how the details or how the steps are executed. So that's why I make these videos. I hope that you like it. Do share it with others. And finally, I want to also add one more important point is whenever we are working with such service, it's not whether it's Twitter, it's YouTube, there will be always a API endpoint, and their API endpoints will be in form of web links. However, when parallel to the API endpoints, there will be Python libraries also. So that is how. So there will be always Python libraries. So when I was researching for Twitter, that is how I found TweePy. So if you are going to work with any of the new services, you can actually comment it to me also in the comment section. I will try to research, and I will try to provide some updates. And if you want to do research by yourself, there is something called as API research you have to do. You have to understand how the APIs are getting linked, or how the API endpoints are available, how to post your data to the API endpoints. That is one way. The other way is to research for Python libraries that can, Python or JavaScript libraries that can interface with those endpoints for you. So all these things you can, try to research and do the aspect by yourself. So the idea that I am, trying to share here is, large language model automation is a very small part. The major part is coming at this place where we understand the APIs, getting the credentials and connecting to the API endpoint. So this is going to be common going forward. So with that said, I would like to come to a close for this particular video. I hope that you liked it. Do leave a like, share it with others because the technology is new, and subscribe to my channel for further updates on similar kind of automate your services using LangChain, large language models on LangChain. With that said, I would like to close this video with practice. Have a great time, guys.